Hey, what's up, guys? So we've been into Generation 9 for a little while, and I think it's time that we ranked the Terastalization users, because at this point, there's been a clear top 5 in my opinion. Anyways, here's the guys that you're definitely not going to find in your leagues anymore. Chen Pao, Roaring Moon, Palafin, Iron Bundle, Valiant, and Dragapult. You can't see him at the bottom there. These have each proven to be completely broken. I think Roaring Moon is probably the least broken out of all of them, but you kind of can't say that Booster Energy plus Acrobatics Flying isn't broken. Not to mention when you're becoming a Steel type too, it's also just a perfect storm. So these guys we're not even going to consider for this list. Here's some honorable mentions I want to talk about. Iron Moth. I think this is a great Pokemon this generation. Not only do you have pretty much perfect coverage with U-Turn, but you also have Toxic Spikes, and I think those are super underrated on this thing. And when you want to become a Terastalization Pokemon, you're basically just becoming Grass or Fire or Poison, and you're doing that because you're not really becoming defensively broken or becoming a really good sweeper. Sometimes you are with your Agility sets and your Booster Energy, but I think because of that, it is worth mentioning, but it's not quite as dynamic as the other 5 I wanted to put on the list. Let's talk about something like Garchomp, and Hydreigon I think falls in the same category. People like to Terastallize them because they're strong dragons, and at this point Hydreigon also has Stealth Rocks. I think that they are good, and I really, in my opinion, one of my favorite sets is going to be the Ghost Terastallization set for a lead on either of them. Hydreigon just pressures all spinners really well with Draco Meteors and Dark Pulses. This is how I feel about it in OU, at least. I'm sure it's kind of the same in Draft, but obviously you also have the option for Steel, and Dark, and Dragon, and Fairy, whatever else you want to become. Garchomp, it's also the same. You can become like a Ground type, and I think a Ghost type would also be good on him. Dragon is pretty good. Steel type I think would also be pretty good, but he's just one of the best guys this generation. I don't think they're quite worth making your Terra Captains, and I think if you're getting them, you might as well find something lower tier that might be a little better. It doesn't have to be that much lower tier, obviously, but you might find something that would be a little better. Let's talk about something like that. So like a Gargonacle, I think this is a good guy to make your Terra Captain because it'll catch a lot of people off guard. I'm not so sure about the fact, and you guys know what it does, like it's like Assault Cure, Recover bullshit. You guys know exactly what it does, but I'm not sure that it'll be broken because of the fact that there's basically so much counterplay in terms of stuff like even Trick and Taunt and all of that, so any wall breaker should be able to end up dealing with it, but it can get out of hand because of the fact that you can't status it. I remember being tilted by many Gargonacles, just feeling like I could do enough damage and then not, so I could see that happening in a lot of League games. And now let's talk about my number 6 on the list, which is going to be Quaquaval. Quaquaval is ridiculous. The way that its kit works in terms of the Moxie +1 speed boost, come on, man. That's just ridiculous. And you're getting that for free, and it's on your stab. So with that 120 attack, I think it makes great use of the Terastalization, and it really makes its potency as a sweeper very good. Just didn't quite make the cut. Very good rapid spinner, too. Very good Pokemon. Kind of ridiculous how good it is. Anyways, let's get into the list though, because there are some guys I want to talk about that are just a little better than those guys. Sorry. Anyways, Great Tusk, gonna be one of them. I think at this point in the meta, people aren't really keen on Terastallizing their Great Tusk, but if you end up in a situation where you're... By the way, I should mention, if you guys couldn't tell, I'm not talking about post-home. I'll put that on the beginning of, or the title, but it's about pre-home. Yeah, so you're not going to see any Regieleki or any of that bullshit running around anywhere. I think at this point in the game, people are not so keen on running Great Tusk as a Terastallization user. It's a little bit boring and not so flashy, but I think over time, especially if you're playing in an 8-mon type draft, where you can only use one guy and everyone else is picking all the other good guys, and you just want to have like a high-tier Terastallization user, which honestly at a certain point might be the best thing. Right now we're kind of running around with whatever we want to use. And draft players might just end up doing that for all time, right? But I think if you want just like a really good, sturdy guy that can get you honestly a lot of free wins, because just the way its kit works with rocks and spin and being super strong, you're just gonna take out guys and get up your hazards and get rid of hazards. Like, come on, man, it's so good. But basically, because of that, I think it's a really good Terastalization user. It'll get you a lot of free wins. You've got so many options for what you can turn into. You've got your dual stabs, but if you want to be a more defensive guy, you can become water or flying. What else have I seen? It's mostly those that I've seen, but you could become a rock type if you're trying to get some sort of edgequake sweep. There's so many good options for this guy, and I think that over time, like I said, people will sort of navigate to making this guy one of their Terastalization users. But right now, it's just not so flashy, and so people aren't doing that. Anyways, number 4 is going to be Chiu. Chiu, right now, it's definitely getting a lot of heat. I think in OU, I think a lot of people are considering putting it on the ban list. And for good reason. It's like the best wall breaker to ever exist with this Terrifier overheat bullshit with specs. You're hitting like 900 special attack with your ability. It's completely ridiculous. Sorry. But basically, you could also go your grass type. Those are the 2 types you're going to go, but it just does those both so well with the Terra Blast and the overheat Dark Pulse. Being a Scarf or 2 with the good speed is also very good for this guy. It's just ridiculous. A very solid mon to get as your Terastalization user. Next up, we have to talk about Big Boy Annihilate. With Rage Fist, you know, the move that gets to 350 base power when you hit it enough. The fact that you're having to constantly play around its ridiculous bulk. The fact that it can Terastallize into a water or fairy type. And the fact that you have to Terastallize into those types, right? Those are the best ones. I mean, I've seen a lot of people going some other bullshit, but really those are the best ones because it makes it so that you're getting hit. It's powering you up in ways that other ones won't really. I mean, maybe for a specific matchup, right? You know, there's always creativity in Draft League, but those are just the best ones. So, because if you're not getting super effectively hit, you're just powering up the Rage Fist, you're not taking any damage usually, you're bulking up. You can go for a rest soon, probably, or even just a Drain Punch and get all your HP back. And then you're just unstoppable, because once you switch, you can still come in and Rage Fist anyways. This is just a complete menace of a Pokemon, one of your best Terastalization options. It's still pretty good without Terastalization, but really with Terastalization, it's just over the top. Over the top Pokemon. For the top 2, I didn't know where to place them amongst each other, because they're both insanely good, and they kind of do similar things. But I think one just kind of slightly edges over the other statistically and just play-wise. And that's going to be Volcarona number 2. So let's talk about Volcarona. With Fiery Dance, we all know the gist. Bug Buzz, insane coverage. You got Psychic, Giga Drain, Morning Sun to get your HP back. You got Will-O-Wisp too, U-Turn. So you're just an insane Pokemon. And then, of course, your favorite move, Quiver Dance, because you get +1 special attack, special defense, and speed. This thing is one of the most insane sweepers in the game. With Terastalization and Terra Blast, you just become even more insane. Any sweeper becomes more insane with Terastalization. Like, you'll notice, like, with Rapid Spin Sense on Donphan, on freaking Great Tusk is what I meant. That's why it makes it so much better with Booster Energy. Like, any sweeper becomes so insane, because you're just either so much stronger, or they just can't take you out. Or they thought they could take you out, but then you're setting up, then you're too strong, then it's game over. Terastalization is just insanely good on sweeper type Pokemon or just like insane wall breakers. That's what I've come to realize. But and even defense Pokemon it's still pretty good on, right? But you can much more easily take advantage of that type of thing. The thing that isn't really overlooked, but I think tends to be, by the way, of course, you're going to want to run your boots on this guy most of the time, but you can always work around it. I've definitely had a few situations where I didn't run boots on Volcarona because I didn't need to, because I didn't think that rocks will be up at that point. I thought I could get them off with something good like Great Tusk. But then you end up at a point where Volcarona, basically, with the Flame Body, is completely broken with Terastalization because of the fact that if they're going to hit you with the contact move, you can Terastallize around that, not get one shot, and then you're burning them. And they have to account for that. It's 30% chance. It's not a slight chance, it's a very good chance they're going to get burned if you're going to play with fire, honestly. And then if you're accounting for like a non-contact move like Stone Edge, guess what? You can Terastallize around that too. If you're going to know that's what's going to come out, then you might as well Terastallize around that. And you're going to be completely fine. Because you can Quiver Dance, become faster, click Morning Sun, and then click your other 2 moves, whatever you want. I mean, you don't even need Morning Sun. I mean, you don't even need Quiver Dance. Quiver Dance is really good, though. Like, insanely good. You're going to want Quiver Dance most of the time. But, yep, insanely good Pokemon. Very, very polarizing and perhaps centralizing, whatever the fuck the word is, probably centralizing. Blah, blah, blah. And then the last Pokemon is going to be Dragonite himself, because Dragonite is running rampant right now. It doesn't need much explanation. Heavy duty boots, multi-scale. So you're full HP every time you come in, no matter what. They can't stop that at all. I've thought of some ways to stop that. What's the move? Is it Magic Room? I thought of some ways to stop that. Yeah, Magic Room. For 5 turns, all held items have no effect. So next time you're playing versus a Dragonite, you're going to need to get up the Magic Room. So let me show you guys all the Magic Room users. Because otherwise it's going to be... Oh, yeah, they're really good options that we got here. You guys can't see it, but Delphox, Gothitelle, and Klefki. Yep. So you're going to get up your Magic Room. Honestly, Klefki is not even that bad, but without that, what I'm trying to say here is, otherwise it comes in at full HP and you can't kill it, and it's going to click Dragon Dance, and it's going to get +1 attack with this ridiculous attack stat, and then you're going to have Stab Extreme Speeds with normal type, or you're going to be whatever other type you want, and be Roosting with your insane bulk, and go back to your multi-scale. They can't kill you. You just keep Dragon Dancing. It's just a never-ending cycle of pain. If they bother switching out, they're screwed. And sometimes you can just roost on guys because you're Terastalized, and you can just roost because you're not a type that's gonna be threatened by them anymore. So there you go. Dragonite is easily the best Pokemon in the game for Terastalization right now. Look at these stats right now. 6 most used in this tournament that we're all playing in, the Smogon Draft Tournament, but it's got a 63% win rate because it is just so dynamic right now. It had like a 70% win rate earlier, remember. So yep, there's the list. There's definitely some dispute to be had about the guys, but I think that these are the best ones right now. And I would like to hear your opinions, so leave them in the comments, and I'll see you guys next time.